So I live in the northwest of Italy, and this area of my country is at the feet of the Alps. It's of course rich of rocks and mountains, and amazing place for the outdoors. I feel very lucky to live in this place called Biella, which is I like to say that it's far from everything, but it's close to everything, because you don't really have any good areas nearby the city, but in 2 hours drives you can reach many good areas which are still not developed, and so there is like really wide potential for searching for new lines, and for exploring, and to practice this activity of exploration, finding, cleaning, and finally climbing some lines that you like. Since 2012, which was the year when I finished the high school, I start to travel as much as I can, and to visit many places. And I did this not because there was a lack of rock here where I live, but mostly because I knew that one day it was not possible for me to travel in this way as I usually do. During the past years, I've been walking and hiking a lot in the valleys here in the northwest, especially in Piedmont and Aosta Valley, finding some cool stuff, something that I really like, something that was very inspiring for me. I never look for areas, I never look for quantity or for a big number of lines. That's something that is not interesting at all for me, but it's more interesting in searching for single boulder problems that are meaning something to me. And eventually it happened that in the past I found some of these problems which were top-notch for me, and they were as special as the ones that I'm looking for when I'm traveling overseas. So I felt like very grateful and lucky to have them here near the place where I live and in a place where I grew up. Many times that I went to hike here in the northwest, I found myself on the riverbed. I think that walking along the rivers and searching in this kind of environment can be really interesting in the regions where I live. We have like tons of valley and gulleys and canyons which have been shaped by the water, and I personally think that there is like an interesting line which is really narrow and really tricky to find, which is the line which stays not too close to the water and not too far from the water itself, which is exactly in the middle between the forest and the water. That's the place where a problem gets shaped by the water, but not too much shaped to be polished. And on the other way, it takes enough water to be not too rough as the boulder problems that you see in the forest. So if you manage to find in that line, you might be really satisfied, because it might happen that the texture is really well done by Mother Nature. I love to search in this line, follow this line, also because it's really rare that it happens that you find, what you like in the perfect spot. Some of the lines that we have climbed during this couple of months trip here in the Northwest, they were in a good place. And I think that if the boulders that we loved during this period, if some of those were maybe 5 or 6 meters closer to the water, it would be like maybe impossible or maybe not as good as it is now. So I think that finding something in the spot is really peculiar and is something that requires a lot of time, and in the end it pays off.
Punti sinistro, cambi piede, metti il destro, possibilmente nel buco, sono vicino. Sinistro fuori vicino alla mano e rolli.
Yeah, one of the part that has been always hard here in the Northwest is that the lines that I found, many of them were quite big, and they required from me a good amount of pads, because crash pads are quite a nice way to protect the lens, because it's something that you carry and then you just bring them back home at the end of the day. So it's not something permanent, it's not something that you let there like a bolt or something like that. So I carry a lot of them, and this takes a lot of time, a lot of hikes. Sometimes you have to, walk to the problem and then come back to the car and then do it maybe 2 or 3 times per session. So it takes a lot, and but still, it's something interesting as well, because you know that if you want to protect these problems, you need to invest this time, and you know that by the end of the day, everything is gone. There is nothing that is permanent. for me, like, it's really, when I walk and when I took a hike here, sometimes it happens that I found like maybe hundreds of pieces of rock, but sometimes I'm not interested in any of them, because I just want to look for something that it's really close to my vision and something that can express myself. So it happens that you see a lot of rocks, but in the end it happens that you just choose one or a couple of lines that are for me the best, and I want to dedicate my life to them, and not spending time on something that I know that they are not the best expression of the climbing and of the climber.